everyone and welcome to my channel. This video has been a long time coming, but before I get into the stories, I just wanted to give you some trigger warnings. Some of the stories I'm about to tell touch on some sensitive topics. If you're feeling sensitive, maybe just skip this video and I'll see you next time. But for those of you who are still here, brace yourselves and let's get into it. My first fashion week, I had just started modeling. I was super excited about everything. I thought it was all wild and amazing. I was backstage at a smaller show. We had been there since the morning and it was the evening now. Probably none of us had eaten since breakfast. We were all really hungry. And so the designer said that she was going to get us some food. She came back about half an hour later with a stack of boxes of pizza. And then one of the models next to me went to go and get some and she kind of swatted her away and was like, "No!" And we were all really confused. And then some more staff came in carrying salads and the designer said, "Pizza for the boys, chicken salad for the girls." The room went super quiet. We didn't know how to respond at all. We were all just like, what? I have no idea what her reasoning was for that. So the boys got the pizza, the girls got the chicken salad. Thankfully it was a good chicken salad. This leads me on to story number 2, which also involved food, or the lack thereof. It's actually not my story, but it's one that I was told by a model that I was working with a couple weeks ago. She was at a show recently where one of the models just wasn't eating at all backstage. You know, I kind of get it. You're about to go walk in front of a whole room of people that are sometimes sitting pretty close to you and you're often not in something that you're super comfortable wearing. So this girl, the show starts and she walks out, my friend's backstage, and then they just hear this huge thud. And the audience gasps, and then the music turns off, lights turn on. The girl just totally fainted on the runway in the middle of the show. They had to stop the whole show. They called an ambulance. You may be thinking like, why didn't she just eat? But there are also a lot of other factors that are kind of complicating it, and that leads me on to story number 3. I was backstage at a show recently. I was chatting with a couple of other models and one of them was saying that she had asked the designer if he wanted her to walk this season because she's worked with him before, and he kind of looked her up and down and was like, "You can walk for me if you lose this," and he like pinched her love handles. Then the other model that was standing next to us, in my opinion, she was like the perfect model. She was so tall, so thin. Her agency said that they won't send her to Europe unless she gets to a size 24 waist, and she's at a 25. And then she lifted up her shirt. It was a totally flat stomach. Like there's literally nothing to lose. She just was like, it's not gonna happen. These stories are not rare at all. Every model that I have spoken to has stories like this, which still, you know, recent stories. So let's move on. Okay, finally we've arrived at the last story, and in my opinion, the worst one. So I'm gonna give you the opportunity to get out of here again if you want to, because this one is a little sensitive. You've been warned. So I was at a show and this happens every time. I don't know why they do this, but it's like you have 4 hours where you're sitting around and then in the last like 5 minutes they suddenly are trying to dress everyone and do all the final touch-ups and stuff, and it's like so chaotic, and I'm like, guys, we had 4 hours where we would kind of just be, I don't know, it happens at every single show that I've ever been to. So we're in this 5 minutes before the show where it's crazy. Okay, so the designer's like, okay, I need to dress all the models, you know, so models, everybody like get naked. And there's still guys like in the room. There's like the photographers and like some random guys. I don't even know who they were. So we were like, can the guys please leave before we, you know, do that? Anyway, so the designer comes up to the next model that he's dressing and puts her dress on, and then he's like, "Oh, I can see your underwear through the dress. You need to take them off. That's not a problem, right?" And then she's like, it kind of is a problem. And he's like, you know, super stressed and super rushed. He's like, he just ripped her underwear off. And so she stands there awkwardly for a couple of minutes. And then she reaches under her dress and pulls out a pad. Oh, the secondhand embarrassment that I was feeling at this point. I was standing right next to her and I was like, I wanted the ground to swallow me up, and it didn't even happen to me. I was just like, oh my gosh. And then as soon as the designer saw that, he was like trying to find some stockings or something, and she was like, it's fine. Like she was just like, it's fine. Anyway, I hope that this video didn't traumatize you too much. This is just a handful of things that I have experienced in my year modeling in New York City. I know that every model that I have met has dozens of stories like this. The fashion industry clearly still needs a lot of change to happen, a lot of work. I think we're going in a positive direction. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have any crazy fashion week stories that you would like to share, please feel free to leave them down below. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye! Her stomach was flat, she had abs, you know, but not too many abs. I mean, how many abs can you have? Her abs were not too big, that's what I was trying to say. She knew the designer, she'd walked for him before, and she asked him if he wanted her to walk for him. She asked him if he wanted her to walk for him. She asked him if he wanted her to walk for him. She asked him if he wanted her to walk for him this season. The girl was okay, they cutted her off.
Sorry. Did you just call that rice?